Going out by request, the playlist from last weekend's homecoming. There are a lot of songs they requested that I did not play, and a lot of songs they did not request that I did play, and there's a reason for it. Before I get into this list too much, there are a couple disclaimers I need to throw out there. First of all, this was not my gig. Screamin' Scott booked this gig. He's an MC, very interactive. That's what he does, and that's why people book him. He's actually in the Mex Hall of Fame for this stuff. I was his DJ. He needed my help in that regard. So, yeah, the cat. So, I was trying to facilitate things for him, keeping the energy relatively high. The other thing is, this was a rural community. It was 160 miles from Milwaukee. Check this out. Richland Center is the county seat, and there's like 5,000 people there. So we're talking rural. These are the kind of things I need you to keep in mind when I give you the list I'm giving you. I understand everybody has TikTok, everybody has internet, but these were not kids from Milwaukee or Milwaukee suburbs. These were kids from remote rural areas. There are a couple strange things about homecoming as well. One of those things is, it's not like you start at 8 o'clock and everyone's there and ready to go at 8 o'clock. It doesn't work that way. They trickle in. Sometimes you gotta wait for the game to be over. This was not the case at this particular homecoming dance, but there was a parade that they were attending, and we were waiting like a half hour for them to trickle in and all be there before we really started anything. The dance started at 8:30. They did the homecoming court march at 9 o'clock. After 9 o'clock, we had everybody in attendance. I'm going to share with you some of the songs on the request list that I did not play for one reason or another. Sit Me Out, NLE Choppa. Dawns, Zach Bryan. Fiend, Travis Scott. Carnival, Kanye West. Homecoming, Kanye West. Black and Yellow, Wiz Khalifa. Wiggle, Jason Derulo. You Can't Touch This, MC Hammer. Stereo Hearts, Gym Class Heroes. Fireflies, Owl City. Welcome to the Black Parade, My Chemical Romance. Something in Orange, Zach Bryan. I did not play Pink Pony Club, Chaperone either. There are others. I kind of went off of that request list and played other things instead. When I was first looking at the request list, I thought, yeah, I'll knock all these songs out and then I'll fill with some things to fill the whole 2 hours. Or 2.5 hours, whatever it was, 3 hours. We thought it was initially. We thought it was 8 to 11, but it turned out to be 8:30 to 11. And like I said, we had that half-hour buffer where nothing really happened. So let's start there. I played a request because it didn't really matter. No one was going to dance anyway. There were 25 people in the gym or the commons area. Lovin' on Me, Jack Harlow. And of course, no one responded to it. About Damn Time, Lizzo. Nothing. Crank That, Soulja Boy. At this point, there were 100 plus kids in the commons area, and I thought, maybe if I play some interactive song, they'll actually do something. They did not. Levitating, Dua Lipa. Nothing. Lil Boo Thing, Jack Russell, a little bit. I Got a Feeling, Black Eyed Peas, a little bit. Low, Flo Rida, a little bit more, but not much. Wobble Vic, and I didn't get a lot from that either. This is where they did the homecoming march. It takes us up to 9 o'clock. And that probably took 10 minutes. I wanted to kick it off with something with some energy because Scott needed energy songs to do his performance. So I started off with House of Pain, Jump Around, and we got some activity with that. Then I went on to Usher's Yeah. I'm trying to give them all the big bangers. And yeah, we started getting a response from the kids. Cha Cha Slide filled the dance floor. I mixed that in with Cupid Shuffle, filled the dance floor. And yeah, I do that. I mix Cha Cha Slide with Cupid Shuffle. I know the BPMs are way off, but I've been doing it for years. It works really well. And I wish I could demonstrate it for you without getting flagged. It is possible, and it's incredibly effective. Sometimes I'll do electric boogie, cha-cha slide, Cupid shuffle for an event like this. All beat mix, believe it or not, and it works really well. And the BPMs go up and up and up and up. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, Starship's Nicki Minaj. That went really well. And there wasn't really much I could do about what they were singing very loudly over the clean version of the song that I provided. That's not on me. But yeah, that went over incredibly well. And from there on out, we had a lot of fun. Turned down for what? DJ Snake, Cotton Eye Joe was on the request list. Rednecks, that went over very well. And they had some country on there. There was a lot of country on the request list. I played some of it. It didn't go over as well as the hop up and down songs. It was that kind of high school, you know what I mean? They wanted to do those kind of dances. They really needed the energy songs to be motivated to do much of anything. So Country Girl Shake It For Me, Luke Bryan was okay. I had to bring it back. And I did with Party in the USA. Went over incredibly. All sing-along stuff too. They love sing-along stuff. Call Me Maybe, Charlie Ray Jepsen, did very well. This went great. I love it, Econopop. This was a wonderful 3 minutes. They loved it. Mr. Brightside Killers, I mean, that's the Smart Bomb anymore, right? They wanted a lot of alt-rock. But a lot of the alt-rock they wanted, you know, maybe wasn't like the best choices for alt-rock. If you were only going to play a couple, this was a really good choice. Mr. Brightside is always a good choice. Not that the other ones wouldn't work, but I was really trying to get everyone involved, no matter what you were into. So I didn't want to do anything but the best of the best on some of this, if that makes any sense to you. Especially since Scott was trying to do the mic work and get the crowd hyped up. Hot to Go, Chaperone. Now that was my choice. They'd requested Pink Pony Club. I knew they needed energy. So instead of playing that one, I did Hot to Go. They knew the dance. They absolutely loved it. It was interactive in every sense of the word. It was the right choice to make. If you're going to just play one, I think that was the one to play for this particular audience. Uptown Funk, Mark Ronson, Bruno Mars, of course. And that went fine. It didn't blow the roof off or anything, but it went fine. Again, they danced, but they needed to literally be hopping up and down to be having fun. That's when the floor was filled. If the song was a hop up and down song, the floor was filled. Anything else? Yeah. So I tried to stick with that. Sexy and I Know It and Party Rock back to back went over great. Jump around songs. Keep that in mind. Fireball, Pitbull, and John Ryan. Macarena. Yeah, Group Active. They did the Macarena. And somebody came up and really wanted to hear Jason Aldean, You Make It Easy. They wanted to slow it down. So I played it because there were a lot of country kids there and I really wasn't throwing them any bones. So I played that. And it got a lukewarm reception at best. Another kid ran up and had to hear Eric Church's Springsteen. Look, I don't do country. I don't know what motivates people with country music to do anything. But I went ahead and played it because, again, I wanted to throw the country kids something. I jumped out of that with this one. And I'd never played it before, but I've heard it's getting hot at some schools. It's called Church Clap. It's by KB featuring... What is that? Lecrae, perhaps? KB featuring Lecrae. It's... The best way I can describe it is Christian contemporary hip-hop. It's over 10 years old, I think. And there's a dance they do to it. I don't think this is something that you would play at every school, but for this particular school, most of them knew the dance. And I'd never seen it before, so yeah, I mean, maybe this is bigger than I think. The song itself, I wasn't thinking it was an amazing song, but they knew it and they danced to it. And I'll just give you my thing on Christian contemporary music. To me, it's kind of like a veggie burger. If you're a vegan, you're going to love it. But if you actually eat meat, you're not going to want a veggie burger. There's going to be better choices out there for you for burgers than a veggie burger. That's how I see Christian contemporary music. That's my analogy that I came up with and explained to Scott this weekend. Thought I'd share it with you and see how it translates to YouTube. Anyway, neither here nor there, but it went over fine. And it was a request. YMCA, they loved it. That was a request. Firework, Katy Perry. Scott had suggested that one several times, and it was the right one to do. So instead of last Friday night, Firework, I think, was the better choice. Because last Friday night was on the request list. Kind of the same thing I did with the Chappelle Rowan. Same thing. We Found Love, Rhiannon. Shut Up and Dance, Walk the Moon. I took a chance on this one, and it was the right thing to do. I did Daddy Yankee Gasolina, and it went over incredibly well. Yeah, for high school kids, they loved it. They thought it was really cool. Hey, Outcast. I just threw it on. Again, I was looking for the energy songs. Went over very well. This one I did, and when I did it, Scott got really nervous and looked at me like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Dude, calm down. Watch what happens." High school, mind you. I did Earth, Wind, and Fire September, and it went over incredibly well. They were singing it. You could kill the volume, and they were doing the body. They were doing it. They all knew it. They all liked it. So that's a classic that I feel like you can throw in at some of these high schools that are in the city, maybe outside of the suburbs. It does incredibly well. I've actually got requests for it in the past, and the results I thought were really good. So that's how I knew that this was a good choice, perhaps. And it worked. Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. I don't think it was requested, but I played it and it went over incredibly well. Who Let the Dogs Out? Man, that was on the request list. And it didn't do as well as I thought it might with this crowd, but it did okay. And then I went ahead, and I was planning on this being the last song because I had it timed out right. Darude Sandstorm. I've done schools where they absolutely go nuts over this song. I thought it was a great way to end the night, so I put it on. And they loved it. They absolutely loved it. So, probably about halfway through the song, right before the break, the Spanish teacher comes up and says, "We need a slow song to end the night." Because a student wanted it. I think it was the Homecoming King and Queen wanted something. So, I put on Perfect, Ed Sheeran, and Beyonce. Just because I was just pressed to grab a song that was relatively contemporary, that wasn't from the 1980s, and they may know in Slow Dance 2, they did indeed slow dance to it, and that's how we ended the night. Went a little over with that. So that's it. That's what happened at this homecoming. That's how it all went down. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Had to keep the energy up, not only for the kids to engage in a more meaningful way than just standing around, but for Scott to do his MC interaction with the crowd. He needed the energy stuff to do that. Come on, get your hands in the air and everybody scream. All right, girls, sing. The guy, he does that kind of stuff like all night. And it would be exhausting for any of us to even try to do something like that. I used to do that kind of stuff a long time ago. We all used to do that kind of stuff a long time ago, I guess. I haven't done it in years. I mean, I try to rely on the music, Scott does too, but he also does this thing. And the kids loved it. And the faculty loved it. Everyone was happy. The only person who wasn't happy, but he wasn't really mad about it. I had one guy who was asking for Young Thug Hot. And I really wanted to play it for this guy. But where was I going to put it? I was trying to keep this energy level up. And that was not an energy song at all. But I was looking for an opportunity. I kind of had it in the queue ready to go. But it never happened. So that's it. Again, every school is different. This was very rural. Way out in the middle of nowhere. Good kids, good faculty. Enjoyed myself. Didn't enjoy the drive. They were back. But I enjoyed the rest of it. Let us know what goes on at your schools. What are the big songs? Where are you in the country, what kind of schools, or what kind of schools are you playing, period? You know, small schools, big schools. I think there were probably 250 to 300 students in attendance. And we brought the EKX system. I mentioned that in the gig log, and it was fine. The lighting worked out, everything worked out. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Questions, answers, right down here. Practice and enjoy.